Hello, my name is Brian Spellman. This is my book of shape poetry called Table Scraps from the Asylum. This is dedicated to John Sleeman, who gave me a real boost in confidence that my poems were worthwhile to read. They're set on one page, complements the other on each side throughout the book. So I don't know how well it sounds, but it was done with the idea that I would make them look appealing on the page. So I'm going to read them to you now. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names don't have my permission. My rule. I hate rules. Still, I live by one. Invest one day each week totally alone. If I have to modify it, I'll make it two. Suicide. I hate feeling hate, but feeling nothing feels worse. Hate is nothing personal unless you say so, yet love leaves before you say go. American culture has sunk to new depths of shallowness. Pop poppy. Poetry challenges. Showbiz indulges. Most of us are mostly stoned. Rational oomph. Cross your fingers and stick with the secular prayer. Solitude. Feed a squirrel and he'll leave you alone every day. Denial. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, so don't look, and they'll stay farther away than you expect they would. Tricked. Prayer works most from faith that knows least. Stereotypes. They have holes in their monoliths, thus why call them they? Cosmology. Pick your nose until it bleeds, and you will smell some metal. Evolution. If heaven really existed, rethinking forever would really become hell. To escape from hell, don't hold grudges. Life's too long. The first casualty of war is casual wear. We contradict all for which we stand, for we all stand for contradiction. The lie, the whole lie, and nothing but the lie, so save our asses. Witch doctorate. A PhD in divinity is tantamount to being an expert in something that no one has proven to exist. A dark kid question. Mom, when you die, does your soul hold its breath forever? Light. A tiny poem beams open, thus radiates a world vignette messaged in a cosmic library. Hey gals, would you rather have all to yourselves a genius with a missing dick or a missing link with a genuine sausage? Me forever. Cryogenic preservation of one's own corpse for eventual cloning emits the dye from self-necrophilia within the embodiment of narcissistic pregnancy. For show. Backward goes the awkward line. Middle goes the compromised stanza. Forward goes the failed poem. As or like, a simile or metaphor for run-on rhyme, while onomatopoeia doesn't sound as it means, yet hyperbole looks like math, while hyperbole thinks as poetry. As or like meter repeats, So syntax finds texture for line lengths to let poem breathe as writer shapes stanzas like fitting context, tone, and page look marry content like or as. Shaped like a hyperbola in math. I forgot what I was going to think, but I have to find the day after yesterday, before tomorrow else, now I'm history today. Stop. Tunnel vision. Don't read everything you believe. Madness Mirror Game after R.D. Lang. Like you, I like you. I like you because you are not like me. I like you because you do not like me. I like you because, like me, you do not like me, even though in not liking me you are like me. I do not like me because I like you, even though you are not like me. I do not like me because I like you, even though you do not like me. I do not like me because I am not like you. Like me, I do not like me. Make up my minds. Talking to myself is okay. Answering back is risky. Of course I talk to myself. I have no prayer, G-O-D. I have no prayer, D-O-G. Why not reverse bark and froth and rehearse verse? Straight dick for the queer chick. Dabbing crevice of my mouth with lesbians in nurse outfits to cleanse tooth blood after getting perforated gum line by butch hygienist like her own nostril ringed erotica spell. County Club. Watch, clock, and calendar. Calculated TV scripting. Obligatory prescriptions. The fucksack inspection. The lockless shithouse. Shoelaceless wardrobes. Polished metallic mirrors. A superintended shaving. The strapped-down obedience. Watch, calendar, and clock. Perception. My life is so bad that it's worse than it really is. My straight line. The shortest distance between 2 points is a word in edgewise. If the mind fits, shrink it. Lock up. Fuck your freedom. It's in the way of mine. Just one truth. The answer to what is the answer is that there is no the answer at all. Make mine a la Descartes. I assume, therefore I think, yet still don't know a goddamn thing. Shaving. Have you ever stopped halfway into shaving off your mustache to cautiously spy yourself as Hitler? I did once. I decided that I did not look so hot as him, so I restored myself by finishing his trim. But don't you be discouraged. Nowadays they even have a pill for that. You do have insurance, don't you? I hope you do, for if not, that. Well, yes, again, that. Well, then again, they do have aspirin, lots of it, for that. Who are they? Them. That's who. Why religion is popular in psych wards. Proselytizer. God will forgive even you. Me. Spare the rod and spoil the rotisserie. Proselytizer. That doesn't make sense. Me. Neither does religion. Proselytizer. Good goddamn night. Me. Amen. There's an ad for every vice. Would you like advice on how to become original, creative, special, and influential? Well, if an adult and still reading this, you already follow the wrong didactic and should first rip out this page of shit and throw it in the trash right now. Clever you for not heeding my advice. On the plus side, life doesn't add up. Ignorance is the asking price of most education, yet the residual cost for most any formal education. I now reinvest as my own lost leader, only among those who reinvest in themselves along with me. With a few mutually funded interests, we risk ourselves upon building tomorrow's artist today. Windows are open at our bank. John Dillinger Thrift, January 19th, 2017. Virtual gratuity. About 10:30 a.m., a systems analyst seated himself at the boardroom of our exceedingly prestigious software company, snorting isopropyl alcohol through a paper mask while awaiting tech support for stressful presentation. He continued to transmit his intricate calculations between quick whiffs until fainting forward and face-smacking his laptop's steel lip. Now creating his system's restore point for better syntax disambiguation, he compressed his first environment, custom formatting a hard digital headache only to download a bloody nostril linked to a high-speed so expanding executive's lunch break. Failing to find a waste shredder, his old floppy rammed forth a rasterized bit shot of plasma-long bug glitch right into the speechless dynamic contrast monitor glass of a refurbished yet split-screen, high-definition, pixel-dense, temp resolution geek-off apprentice, website certified, whose day would have defragged for cyber-friendlier drives. On to pity fishing, the analyst worm processed out his corrupt excuse files while nozzle cleaning off his head's disgusting red reboot and viral boogers from his slimy bites. There leaves no recovery from our story. It merely cites my blog on blathering of graphic, albeit circuitous, gratuitous, virtual realities. Shaped like buildings. Switchbreaker. 1 billion brain brats, hitch a tour, express aboard endorphin, of pleasure-swept brilliance. Yet with a yawning conductor, his brother discerning so, shovels serotonin in rations much too meager to transmit passengers. So sibling sabotages controls, cerebral train wreck triggers death to a dear orphan stowaways, advance of finger prints through keys the poet antes up all fares for cog derailments. Engine steam begins to spout from a different track of a train of thought. Abused. So do you now live with your parents? Well, my father died a few years ago. Oh, I'm really sorry. Don't be. Truthfully, it came as a relief. Oh, did he suffer for a long time? No, I did. Problems. Those of us with problems tend to compound our problems by becoming educated in problems, leaving little left to think about other than our problems. Whereupon a satirist causes a status quo to defend its role as bully. Almost any role can coerce its cause to lead such a satirist. Loneliness. Sending off a self-addressed postcard every day simply to know when the mail has arrived so as to prevent unnecessary walks to recheck an often empty box. And madness. Sending off a self-addressed postcard saying, "Hi!" every day simply to look forward to unnecessary walks to an always empty box. My prize. One day Dad and I stood discussing the lottery and what it would be like to win. It would be a lot of freedom to handle, I hedged. You're absolutely right, he joined in before punching the work clock. It remains most unusual as a moment in which he bothered to listen. Los Angeles. Radios pitch out crushed colors, puzzling eye earward, merging senses as channels riddle stations to static menus. Cars in jam fuse mindsets while drivers page bumbling thumbs past messes of disjointed musical barking. Quest for sonic calm relent, leaving metal buzzes in mouths while cell phone freeway fools mount rancorous pile-ups, burning fuel stench towards turbo-nasal crescendos. I couldn't stop, so I quit. brain swollen stiff on beer suds, mutinous slurring away at campus cops, witless stray word work, trip-up slips on station stairways, icy eyeballs stare off keg glow into starry disorder as stomach pumps up its boozy dungeon to bruise brain vessels, kneecap wax into cell bars, beltless night with ass-splattered stools for white sock toilet paper improv amid howls and drunken tongue among us sleepless meltdown shouters. Countdown thirsty think hours before morning dry release to revive those ceaselessly blissful oblivions. Jail tighter desires for sober annoyance, curtailing an unmitigated disaster. A good night's sleep counts healthy sheep. Through chafe, fluff, commotions, diversions, misdirections, rejection erections for girl obsessions, pastimes, full times, overtime, shallow shocks, dog parks, basking my ass to cold steel pots, Walter Mitty self-pity and shitty committees. Through Sid Idiot Coms, Madonna wax publicities, a cruel accountant money mannequin movies, talk show radio dopes, scribbling bloviated predictabilities, athlete pro crybaby man shakedowns, religious con TV takedowns, real estate greed groper fakedowns, political fungus phony showdowns, and maybe you moping down my shoulder, ear, phone, face. Hey! William Burroughs. Bit it? I missed it for months. Beats clearly agitated, uninvited, associative word carnivore, expanded dead fast into ruptured earth space with his Sunday fist fuck up to our tonsils, from whom impropriety was provocative, clearly, yet clearly validity was as well. Every swamp has a silted lining. Psychiatrists, pressured by system, to issue decoy diagnoses, to allay public's desire to see us as distant. Complex compound terms sound scientific for credibility, yet neither precise nor encompassing. Illness-like labels link patients to pills to make profession pay. All but us are whole and included. A history. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Charles Bukowski. I don't know precisely what Bukowski had to say about Jesus. Charles did say that he didn't believe in God, so this fact alone covers some history. Like Christ, anti-hero, Bukowski, hero, made his contemporaries rather unsettled, though in entirely different ways. Christ, for example, was a degenerate boozer, while Charles only sipped wine for symbolic purpose. Bukowski was the Son of God, whereas Jesus was just another son of a bitch. Christ championed bare-knuckle street brawling, while Charles was peaceful to a flaw. Bukowski loved horses for their stately elegance, while Jesus respected them only as vehicles to squander gambling money on. Christ plugged his skin scepter into every hole of every tawdry avenue floozy he could conquer, while Charles, born of a virgin, went after suit with an ascetic life of his own. Bukowski performed miracles to shelter and feed the meek, while Jesus kept a private stash of delicacies while watching those around him die of famine. Christ lived a decrepit life of stubborn blasphemy, while Charles died to absolve the wicked sins of Jesus. The Telltale Cock. Among thousands of women who enter the adult pictures industry every year, one would expect more of them to pass unnoticed through those siftings of the regular movie business, only to later draw up scandalous attention. Certainly the priggish public would declare impulsive outrage to shield children from glamorizing porn stars, though the same adults privately consume smut like rabid animals. Beyond that, neither provocation requires an obligatory measure of acting talent at most levels of product. Porn, however, blurs our distinction by nudging the cleaner film environment for more realistic facades of eroticism. Websites further tax the filters of sex, flick, and pick players. Hollywood can't mind each dirty affair of fuck shows to preclude its own eventual dishonor. This leads to my twofold theory that most blue film dolls simply don't pursue mainstream legitimacy, while those who do shoulder a lingering case of celluloid shame syndrome. Ironically, they're shy about decent exposure. I may be mistaken, not knowing any porn gals personally, impersonally, or depersonally. Unfortunately. Coats of arm. Ma was artistic. Pa was all business. Still I birthed out as right, unstillborn yet sewn in, out head first and elbow woven, lost between lines of plaid-coated, opposed, outstretched arms, whilst acutely torn, creased scorn, but not dropped, not even only once, my fabric frayed, patch pleated. Yet I'll bet I'm still far better off than most born in sleeveless seasons, purposeless, or fibrous babies of DNA from suave suede, greedy tweed, insincere synthetic, or hemmed up tight, non gratis status, static coats white, struggling still by back-stitched arms. The early worm gets birdshed, help unwanted, flaccid firms, corporate ceasehire, miserly loves companies, too many crooks spoil the broth, bloated business climate eyes, vacation. So I famish for assignments, waiting to wilt, still waiting to await my temp agent's call. Smoke screening, my budget, butts out, here's to health-induced, illness, unlucky strike, got a spare, mister? I've run out of work. Must about myself and face this bout of exchange turns. Must manufacture instinct, savvy, slight, slick wit, or nitwit. Foot press ahead. Do not press, fold, spindle, or mutilate. Mutilate I can't, but tempt them to fold. My best faith face, pressed in their ass, white paper typed, who I swindled for summer vacation. A atypical day. Among Eliot's grim hallmarks was, we are the hollow men, we are the stuffed men, leaning together. Consider while boarding, going down elevators, during mobs at boring banks, or when, guzzling down sopping stupors at monthly Knights of Columbus toy auction summits, or when, fisting and shouting down other gamblers across television screens, pleading teams to bother during hopelessly lopsided preseason football games, or when, kneeling in pews during solemn prayers to peek briefly, shining up upon many peeking parishioners. Thank you poem. A day unable to write, jabbing through stacks at Borders on Victory Boulevard. Sean Hannity. Second book he wrote. Second likely that he ever read. Deliver Us from Evil. Fed up, I fed up my jacket a few copies and calmly carted upstairs towards Store's white wastebasket. With petty purpose, wasted each bestseller discreetly in vanilla wastebasket. Duty civil, suiting to Deliver Us to My Evil. Poem. Thank you, dirty douchebag. My tainted truffle fashion. When you groom your mushroom hairdo, whatever you do not overdo it. But do let fungus farm contours, then scatter scalp. Whatever you choose to do not prune your do. A shroom do should shape itself away, au naturel, or should not shoot at all. Crop off your do when you waffle to make do, but whatever, well you know, never chew your do. No doubt you will ill-will me too. Loony shrooms do truth virtually hairy, you pig-headed fool. How many times did I drop acid as a kid? Apparently less than enough already, but more than too many for now. Absence makes the mind go yonder. Most unfairly, therefore I was ordered to attend an alcohol education class for the next 8 Wednesday nights. Long before the first session, I was for a preliminary interview. My cranky caseworker, jaw, interrupt, questions about, said, drinking, blackouts, episodes of these routines, Mr. Spellman? What's a blackout? I asked back. That's when, remember, lost blocks of time when, oh sure, many, I said offhandedly while inspecting my watch. Amid weighty flimflam, she was the last time you blacked out. I said, I can't remember, with a wink. Dismissed to amuse her. Something. Taste my ass. Nothing good comes from booze. August Bush IV is BS the First, a dapper dope dealer. Nothing honest comes from tobacco. Philip Morris, now sorry, says, but honest, we were exhaling up your butt. Nothing illuminating comes from illicit substance. Bums gas guffawing from puppeteers. Nothing but anal analysis delusions come from antipsychotic tranquilizers. Don't read my word, just read my shit. Nothing flashy, just pull up a squishy stool from Starbucks. Nothing all that bad comes from nothing at all. Whoosh! No fair. If life was fair, one third of the people would comprise of judges and lawyers, 1/3 of police and prison guards, and 1/3 of legislators, and 1/3 more to make the other 3/3 make any sense at all. Thank goodness for no fair. Read this. Everyone writing at some point faces a writer's block. From what I have read thus far, many have also had bad bouts with writer's runs. This occurs whenever high volumes of truly shitty mind matter in some way bypass the editor's desk, print off, wait on bookstore shelves, angling to ream your valuable time and attention. As I have processed word zilch that you have heard incessantly, you might stuff my poem to block. It is a joy to annoy hemorrhoids. Judo. Friday night I needed to slide, belly fried style. Took place in a Canoga Park line for fast food. 60-ish matron with a dump truck chin parked it to my side. Nest workings of gray stubble, a like length, peppered mane collared round shoulders and neck. She gawked me, glimpsing her, swung round, grip-face griped, I was here first. Untrue upon impulse, pause, I unruffled. Oh, it's not that. My stare is upon your hair. Cluttered some, she uttered. I just had it styled. It shows. Pleasant. Her face unfolded, jowls inflexed. Who's next? Clattered the attendant. This gentleman. Deliverance. Friday and friends and I rented Deliverance. We'd each seen it years ago. Agreed it was a fine film. We joked, parodied scene where primitive pilgrim man rapes soft city man. We got off the floor to gloat the film. Most lines conveyed through blunt precision. Still, a thick hilarity would steal us during the rape scene. When it came, we sat still, uneasy. No one spoke. No one looked away. Then I remembered not laughing at first viewing either. Years later we reconvened. Someone ripped open rape scene humor. I didn't laugh. Empathy seduced me. Still born again nihilist. We shall all allow shallowness to swallow us. First, though, salvage West Coastal cigarette smog from left-wing war on drugs before Wall Street steamrollers mushed to cornmeal, glitzy Indian gaming halls. 1960s hippie free love hostage, ransomed back with legal lockjaws as 1970s mass production porn palaces, canned in couch and camera for lonely men to kickstart listless gears to. Conservatives yak freedom yet deny drug legalization. If not free to self-destruct, does freedom truly exist? 29 years, clean and sober, my roach-clogged electric razor rips me in this rancid sty pad, exposed to rent raisings. I might need a new vice, new San Fernando Valley, new awakening, and renewed justified lying composure. Life is short unless agony is long. While I shoe-kick through life like a shit-caked sheet of cellophane, a list of secular prayers wishes torment through my brain. Greedily I fist-pound for lurid legacies of mass murderers, swigging non-alcoholic brews, red moonlights, brunette pussies, Fyodor Dostoevsky's St. Petersburg, and a pocket full of loose change for assertive beggars. Meanwhile, my flip-off list for any and all enemies includes slushy rated Xmas testimonials, humanitarian witnessing from and of royal notables, Caltech mind majesties irritating their gray cerebral cortexes in our pan, eviscerate souls of get-rich-quick pitchmen, Encino nobility, fast food soda jerks. Always remember to stay the course unless you're on the main course. Say grace. Sick of illness. Relaxing gradually into stick-pin arteries and bulbous gobs of saline stiff heart tubes. Pulse. Relaxing within stitched up tight food football bodies and bad fat tallies. Pulse. Relaxing on sun-bleached lawn beaches with skin blisters and scalp scabs. Pulse. Relaxing down in martini glasses, tobacco tendrils, and cheap detective mags. Pulse. Releasing away to air and earth space to whisk through the next set of sallow recruits, counting down their languid finales. List. Find lost list. Lose yourself. Lose your persona. Lose your identity. Lose your virginity. Lose your innocence. Lose your guilt. Lose your place. Lose your race. Lose your isms. Lose your booze. Lose your friends. Lose your friend. Lose yours truly. Lose your privacy. Lose your diary. Lose your map. Lose your mind. Lose your luck. Lose your pucker. Lose your dentures. Lose your nation. Lose your home. Lose your room. Lose your point of. Lose your of view. Lose your eyesight. Lose your memory. Lose your memory. Lose start list. Lose your selfishness. Find your selflessness. Lose your life. What's the meaning of lice? To scratch your head for a reason. Show and tell. In the first grade, Mrs. Rubel would have me sit on her lap. She would tell me how bright I was and how important I could someday become. I would sit there and daydream with your average little kid's bulge in my pants. I had no idea what to do with the bulge. One thing was certain. Though I was just 7 years old, she was the only woman who I would have allowed to give me a bath. I even forbade my mother at this time. Now, 40 years later, I would still allow Miss Rubel to bathe me in my bulge. No matter how high-minded a man becomes, a nice warm bath and a good stiff dick are two things he swears an oath to never outgrow. I finally decided what I want to be when I grow up. Late. Invocation in my glass man. Then I broke some glass inside some glass inside myself. By reading, yesterday's solid mold of patterns neatly placed can no longer catch and fit flying slivers of edged in upon ignorance. Yet my smashed-in scheme is to continue casting a more illuminated future by thinking through bookish skylights, while library shatter, eyeballs with, dies from, sunlit prisms laughing aloud. my attempt. They don't punch-cut razors to rip wrist, yet blades prevail anyway with sour passions. They don't pitch aspirin to spit blood, yet pills provide to dour persons. They don't tub scalding water to drain away sorrows, yet heat drives wills to empower death. They don't make maps to guide towards coherence once one flinches and cowers to finish it. It's best to reconnect my watchful trudge back for future hours. Cutter's Sewing Circle. So said all. It's not to commit suicide, but instead to prevent it. Some told me the cigarette burns, pinpoints, and needle pricks master one's relief outlet. Even the razorings didn't spring leaks, but rather regulated their flow of grief gradually. Yet most admitted to chronic admittance in our hospitals for acute casework. Some said they disliked their lives, but only I went to the bone, confessing self-hatred. For me, no return visits in 10 years. Wonder if most casual cutters have run out of relief service. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of compulsory free speech. You really pull your nuts out through the zipper when reading pisser verse in public. Poem clubbing mass mindset people with blindside vulgar witticisms and reckless head fucking. Doink a knotted rope from raw eardrums to and through their buttholes. Wax floss the TV poop out their brain tubes to fill them up with supreme cranial gasoline. Toss lit word matches to fire test emotion matters. Kill the quaint safety slant from God-fearing, good gov, ma-pa, tofu teachings. Expel bits of spittle, railing the weary airways of silent attention tweaking. Have 'em laugh sour, then frown silly with off-head top misdirections. Lacerate thought boils of unfun manners by ditching charisma systems. Marry shit to substance, wedding Satan to Jesus to every man, simply for sake of people's shake. Finish poem speak, barking out orders to enrage arrivals before coolly tucking nuts back within pants before bowing to relieve a pent-up butt potato. The whole is less than the sum of its assholes. Pickup truck blowjob. Like a pretzel's calculus, we entangled about in sweaty space for comfort, stealth. Your palm lightly spanked down between my nipples. Day-old seas of bluish grime wedged into cuticles. An honest, street-working girl's dirt I first featured. A squinting inspection spotted spirits of LAPD clientele, scuttling on soles of brutality boots. Darting between, then behind tiny boulders in your dirt nails, the ghost cops galloped, dust-punted their gruesome steps. One motioned to a partner who aimed a pick-sweet gun my way. A pencil-thin piston of light spiked me in the eye. Upon refocusing, I traced the ray's pulse to a pair of binoculars, masking a fingertips detective who jacked off on a mini mud crust to erect his prurient snicker. Like a frantic fantasy surgeon, I flashed open a penknife and, to your bemusement, began to clean the sludgy vice officers from your nails. You giggled me in your mouth, buzzing slivers of laughter up through my body like the hum of squad sirens. I tossed the blade of filthy pigs to the roadside. Then I unloaded my lawless dick spasms with your disreputable tongue. Buds up. 80% of life is 50% indecisive. The rest is confusing. For typically irrational reasons, a fight between about 10 patients at the Van Nuys psych facility quite spontaneously got out of sorts, soon requiring a telephone call for police assistance. Upon their arrival, a nervous black guy, uninvolved in the affray, instinctively called out in panic, "Hey, those cops have their guns out!" As the commotion upgraded its intensity, a middle-aged man-child, precise diagnosis a mystery, at the periphery of the flying fist, siphoned energy from the occasion, from which he methodically began peeling away each garb of his clothing. Slowly the brawlers became distracted to the sideshow. Even those marked up were charmed by the weird hilarity of the stripped man, now fully naked and stiff as a tire iron. The cops had an easier go of cuffing the more unruly pugilist, while one of the female orderlies, late arriving and not humored by the nudity, crabbed, "Oh, Albie, did you start this misunderstanding?" Bob the Snake and Wolfgang Mozart. He did have a talent for cynical spine and gut shooting of forthcoming successes, whom always set off with joyous pretense. He saw his role as art's ego escort, ushering the awkward back into their most foiled seats. However more a freeloader upon the bloodline of creative goals, he leached onto those most promising, but rookie in rank. If aspirants of plumbing and roofing rewarded citizens superior expression in personal terms than art, he'd have fluid sucked himself upon them. Thus, he didn't really even like art. He trained himself detached at others' offers of humor, yet bellowed in whooping guffaws before crestfallen expressions of anger and resignation. Of fact, he was physically large. Although self-educated, he claimed only average smart, simply to crutch sanctuary from criticism for bombastic forays on his part. He brazenly stated unadored opinions like facts without qualifiers. This part was clearly self-delusional, thus ticketing permission to guess at significance of intellectual worth. For insecurity motives, he chanced no artistic risk of his own. He memorized Mozart's repertoire, using it by to link himself by trivia bashing, yet didn't know fugue from fire. Bob the Snake with a snake worming through the poem. The full contact karate shuffleboard set, crutch dueling, wheelchair traffic jams, bedpan splashing, yanking out IVs and serial crochet stabbings. 70s jet setters are just now invading the senior circuit. Elevator disco and cycloform mapo, limpidance porn, platform walkers and perms with dodo egg bald spots, macrame nooses, gray hair, ERA, NRA co-conspirators, gunning jammy burnings, senile air guitar, hurling pet rocks at Howard Cosell posters and Bobby Fischer bingo gaming. Betamax takes gamma ray ruined and Vietnamese refugees seeking Saigon from American amnesia. One ghastly Elvis on ghosting, novelty McGovern buttons, and funny mushroom memoirs. Nursing home hazings while dusting off desert boots as K-Tel begins printing official Beatles reunion indulgences, denturing hickeys and goobering French kisses as following generations stockpile their nostalgic futures for passing the upcoming present by. Tijuana Americana. As an ashen, face-lined teen, or possibly a paying dwarf, yanks my pant leg to peddle his chiclets for loose change, merchants want to know if I will dicker for a ceramic Jesus, for a ticking Rolex, for a tank full of Pemex, for Christ's sakes. For 50 or so pesos, I sit splay-legged in shorts atop the striped stone mule for a snapshot captioned, "Gabacho Fool shops Xmas trinkets in TJ." My find, a green V-neck poncho laced in Chinese red. My niece will look nice. Cal school kids scoff at such trends. Instead, my niece, 11 from Rhode Island, will stage prouder posturing with her scarcity among friends than the rabble. Handmade, she'll say. They all say handmade, always, unless it's label stitched in China. I ascend first class along the rousing upcurl of this smiling forethought to a strip show. Fingering spume off coke, I plummet down while the lonely bull oozes sonorous as solid gloom from a juke when the first dancer pirouettes in cahoots from amid aging young men. The pink pill, shaped like a football, thinks to forbid joy and despair. I watch my football team lose or win, but don't really care. The round white one thinks to hold me whole through stress. I spark a spat with my doctor, but dissolve and compress. Up on greens, down on reds, drive on cocktails, sideways dead. The smooth blue chip thinks to keep me chipper through the blues. I choke it down and chirp like a cheerful bird to fund my doctor's new project, to pill away through. That's the thing about art. Nothing is for everybody. A nut gal with pointy tits tipped them towards my attention at a nut hospital. Once upon a attentive, she then appeared upon hearing that I would show at Gallery 825 in West Hollywood. Meanwhile, in Kaiser's frailty ward for another mindset facelift, my canvas was mostly for novelty canvassing between us and peril. One can think of an ingrown toenail of the faculties once enclosed sans paint appeal. Still, I hope this culturally creative status might wishlist my dick into her body once we were presumably would get let go. Her father came to visit. She transparently pronounced to him that I was a successful artist. She would become my companion at a show. Huh? And we would date. Yeah? So what did Dad think? He yanked her by the arm, hard, for private counsel. She clearly thrilled to irk him. Upon his leaving, she enlightened me that I was no longer essential. Fuck art. Reality TV. Psych ward holds a death on life row. We sleep heavy to gentle pill concussions and rise spastic as lab rats on Etch-a-Sketch. Anxious clocks nudge like depressed calendars. Staff makes schedule, snubs our allergy to that. Art imitates life, life imitates art, imitation imitates imitation. I was coerced into free will. Today, if you glimpse your way into the coined slot eye of a goat, you may perchance peer upon Swiss grass, white with wet milk, up to green, then to umber mountains, to vanilla ice cream, later on to black expanse with flickering crystals. Tomorrow, should you dare peek under our sun, you may gleam upon the making of goats, elementary mating season of ultraviolet affections. An apple a day feeds the tapeworm to stay. I said I liked her poems, which she finished rehearsing for me. Well, you're just saying that to be nice, 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 nice. Was this stock countering a coy woman's ploy to harvest more attention, or did she really seek to shit upon the account of my encouragement? Whatever way, I withdrew concern for her poems and her absorption in no definite order. I still desired to fuck her. That's my absorption. That justifies a poem devoted entirely to myself. Kindness knows no kind. I asked her if she was married. She said that she was. I said, it's to be expected. The good ones are usually taken, which enamored her day, which enamored mine. As you sow, so shall you pick out. It may be the mellifluous draw of clear, finely coned honey strands cascading gracefully through winsome meadow air from hives to slices of fresh-baked wheat wafers. Or maybe stale cigarette butts smoked by lip-sore bums, gobbed with gum dirt, crushed into casseroles, molded from filthy inner-city catch-basin grid squares. Two artists, mink and fox vellum sheets, ribbons bleed ink through life librettos. Bow bends as arrows split mist through drab reissues to reactivate radiance. Cast off, away, with verve through moorings of doubts and dilemmas. Squalls fill sails with sustenance. Make artworks finesse through a spacious collective dream to paint our opaque sleeps. One artist, without anyone to art to, ceases to be any artist at all. Having written is easy. Writing is hard. Going to write is impossible. Thank you for taking the time to let me read my books, again from Table Scraps from the Asylum, Word Art by Brian Spellman. Here's to you, John Sleeman. Thanks.